On mute. Thank you. Jai Govind Prabhu. At least it had left him temporarily unsure of how Krishna wanted to use him. But now his godbrother seemed to be answering the question. Living and working in an ashram with brahmacharis and sannyasi was a way of life Abhay had once considered too austere. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj had remarked, quote, better he live outside your company, unquote. But now he would either have to struggle alone with nothing or stay within the shelter of a friendly portion of the Gaudiya Math. Perhaps he could carry out his desire to preach Krishna consciousness within the ashrams of his godbrothers. So now we will continue. Since he would soon be the editor of Sajjana Tosuni, he began thinking of how to expand it. It was a scholarly Vaishnava journal, but cheaply produced and with a very limited circulation. He envisioned it surpassing India's sleek illustrated weekly. It should be more popular than Time or Life magazines of America. And why not? Krishna was no poor man. Abhay thought of how he could start an ambitious subscription program by approaching the many prominent and wealthy men of New Delhi. Then, by Krishna's grace, he would soon be able to print color photos and use high quality paper for Sajjana Tosani. He would give it his best effort, depending on Krishna. And while soliciting subscribers, he could take his book manuscripts and try to get them published. Dr. Alagappa in South India had wanted to publish his Gita-Upanishad. No doubt there were many men like him. Or perhaps Bhakti Saranga Goswami would be willing to publish Abhay's works with fund from the Gaudiya Sangha. Abhay soon received a letter from Bhakti Saranga Goswami's assistants, carefully instructing him how to travel to Delhi at the least expense. Utility is a principle, Haribol. He was to travel by train third class to Delhi and from there take a tanga. Since tangas at the station get charged too much, Abhay should first walk about 100 meters toward the right-hand side of the station, where he would find a cheaper one. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. You know, like when we went to the Chardham Yatra, we go in the train, local train, practically 76 stop between Surat and Hardwar. When we reach Hardwar, we don't know. We have the address, but we have no way how. I didn't use any Google map or anything to see how far that hotel was. So on the platform, one of the coolie came and he offered me 350 rupees. And I was thinking that's too much. So when we came out of the railway station, so many rickshawalas, they $450, 400. And I was thinking, man, why I carry up to this point, somebody was willing to do it 350. And I said, no, I don't want to pay. So we keep on walking. And Shyamala was saying, how long you are going to keep? I said, we will find somebody. And luckily, we found the guy who was ready to take us for 350. So we have to try to save money as much as we can. Abhay first walked about 100 meters toward the right-hand side of the station where he would find a cheaper one. Were he to ride alone, he should pay no more than 1 rupee and 12 annas. But he should try to share the tanga with another passenger. That would be cheaper. Quote, keeping the crematorium to your left-hand side, unquote. The assistant instructed him, quote, if you look toward the right, then you will be able to see our red flag and the signboard written in Hindi and English. When you reach here, we will pay for the tanga, unquote. At the Gaudiya Sangha, Abhay found a disconcerting state of affairs. In the absence of their guru, Bhakti Saranga Goswami, the brahmacharis, were quarreling and shirking their duties. And as a result, the preaching and the donation gathering were being neglected. Cleanliness, deity worship, cooking, and even peace amongst the devotees were below standard. And like most of the maths of his godbrothers, the Gaudiya Sangh was poor. Abhay had come thinking he would be editing a magazine, but he found himself contending with a group of quarreling neophyte devotees. He learned that the brahmachari responsible for giving public lectures had not done any preaching. The devotees who had previously been holding kirtan in people's homes were now negligent. And the errand boy refused to run because he had lost his bicycle. Then a brahmachari handed Abhay a letter from Bhakti Saranga Goswami requesting him to take up the general management of the math. Inspire everyone to be engaged in service. Otherwise, I do not know how we are going to print the English monthly magazine. Since we don't have much money in the fund, and since the brahmacharis are quite careless, Akinchana Maharaj wrote that he is unable to take the responsibility of the management. It will be very nice if you could keep your eyes on these affairs. And Abhay found other obstacle in typing to produce Sajjana Tosani. No typewriter and bad relations with the printer. In a few days, Abhay received another letter from Bhakti Saranga Goswami telling him what article to print, cautioning him not to change essential elements in the magazine, and reminding him of his special duty. I have asked Akinchana Maharaj to hand over the keys of my room to you so that you may use my room only for your office work. As you are there, you should try to maintain peace in the ashram for giving necessary instructions to one and all. Abhay saw that he could do no editorial work until the laxity and petty quarreling in the ashram stopped. But when he tried to help as Bhakti Saranga Goswami had directed, some of the devotees rebelled and even wrote to the spiritual master complaining. Haribol. That's a normal in his convoy. It was against many obstacles that Abhay met the publisher's deadline for the August 1955 issue of Sajjana Tosani. Yet, owing to the printer's delay, the magazine did not come out until September. When at last the first copies were delivered, Abhay sent several to Bhaktisarang Goswami in Calcutta, asking for his response. Abhay never heard from his godbrother directly, but received further instructions from Bhaktisarang Goswami's secretary, Ramanand, who point out various mistakes in the issue. Without mentioning whether Bhaktisarang had been pleased with it, the errors were mostly technical matters of style. Abhay had done the content page in a different way and had not printed Bhaktisarang Goswami's name exactly as he had wanted it on all his articles. Regarding Abhay's request for a typewriter, Ramanand wrote that if, quote, the matters are distinctly written there, is no necessity of them being given to the printer in typewriting, unquote. Abhay wrote to Bhaktisarang Goswami requesting him to return to Delhi and establish a peaceful atmosphere in the math. Regarding Sajjan Tosani, Bhaktisarang Goswami had suggested that the paper for the cover be improved and that the whole magazine be done on a nicer paper by an up-to-date brush, and Abhay agreed. But improvement depends on money. You know, we want to have everything nicely. Haribol. The suggestion that the paper may be printed from Calcutta is all right. But my suggestion is that either in Calcutta or in Delhi, we must have our own press with good equipment so that we may be able to broadcast the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in all important languages, especially in Hindi and in English. Hindi is meant for all India propaganda, while English is meant for whole worldwide propaganda. Abhay further reported that since it was almost impossible to expect a printer to work speedily from handwritten manuscript, he had already rented a typewriter. He also mentioned his idea for increasing the number of subscribers. Abhay's son, Vrindavan, came to live with him for a few months at the Gaudiya Sangh. There was no question of Abhay's returning to his family, and Vrindavan simply associated with his father, following the routine of the month and helping Abhay in his duties. One day, a prominent advocate, the president of the Hindu Mahasabha, paid an unexpected visit to the Gaudiya Sangh. The month was mostly deserted, and there was no prasadam on hand. So Abhay and Vrindavan received the prominent guest, cooking for him, offering him prasadam, and acquainting him with his activities of the Sangha. That's what it's required, hard work. When Abhay wasn't busy managing the disorganized math and working on Gaudiya Patrika and Sajjan Tosani, he spent his time preparing a Hindi translation of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Although he was more accustomed to writing in English and Bengali, he reasoned that as long as he was preaching in Hindi-speaking areas, such a book would be important. Bhaktisarang Goswami wrote that he wanted to print only 500 copies of Sajjana Tosani for the September issue. But Abhay wanted to print more. After making an agreement with the printer that the charges would be the same for 1,000 copies as for 500, He wrote Bhakti Saranga Goswami informing him of the good news. And Abhay also told him that he had recently secured a donation of printing paper and that he had arranged for a 1/4 reduction in postal charges. So why, for the matter of saving some papers, we shall not print the full number? In my opinion, we should print more than 1,000 copies every month and distribute them in a large scale. But Bhakti Saranga replied through a brief postcard that they should print no more than 500. Look at this. Abhay continued his attempt to improve Sajjana Tosane. For him, it was not a perfunctory duty, perfunctory, perfunctory duty. I don't know what that means. I have never heard that word. My English is very poor. But absorbing preaching. In a letter to Bhakti Saranga Goswami, he expressed anxiety over waiting for him to send article for the next issue. Funds were scarce, so scarce that Abhay had no decent dhoti, and yet he continued to envision a glorious future for Sajjana Tosane. What a great sacrifice. I see this paper just to be standard of illustrated weekly with numerous pictures in order to make it a very popular literature. And for this, I wish to move myself to secure subscribers as well as advertisers. I wish to visit good businessmen, insurance companies, and government officers in this connection. But I have no proper dress at all. I want 2 sets of good dress in order to take up this responsibility. And I shall be glad to have your decision on this matter. It is my heart's desire that this paper is improved to the highest elevation. Let's see what the response comes. Abhay also requested that Bhakti Saranga Goswami help him publish his Hindi Chaitanya Charitamrita. Some non-Bengali gentlemen were demanding the book and had assured Abhay that they would pay 25 rupees per volume. Abhay requested a loan of 600 rupees under any arrangement suitable to Bhakti Saranga Goswami for publishing the first part of this work. Quote, if this part is sold out, unquote, Abhay wrote, the other part will automatically come out. But just as life in the Gaudiya Sangha and work on the Sajjana Tosane under Bhakti Saranga Goswami's hand produced strain for Abhay, Abhay's ambitions for increased circulations and his strong editorial opinions also created strain for Bhakti Saranga Goswami. So in response to Abhay's letter, Bhakti Saranga Goswami's secretary Ramanand wrote a letter full of flowery praises of Bhaktivedanta Prabhu, but with the intent of dismissing him from his position with the Gaudiya Sangha. With innumerable humble obeisances at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, Srimad Bhaktivedanta Prabhu, we received your letter written to Sri Guru Maharaj on May 10th, or this should be the date like October 5, 55. Your project is very lofty and you are a well-wisher of our society. We got to know that also. Since the last 2 months, in spite of so many difficulties, the difficulties of prasadam and misunderstanding of the devotees there, and in spite of various other difficulties, the kind of enthusiasm that you have shown, that is possible only for an elevated Vaishnava like yourself. Haribol. You are a favorite Vaishnava of Srila Prabhupada and a friend of all the special associates of Srila Prabhupada. Most of the devotees in Gaudiya Sangh ashram in Delhi are new and less respectful. They cannot give proper respect to an elevated personality like yourself, especially the lofty speculations that you have. Our society at the present circumstances has a little ideas. We hope with all your qualities, very soon you will become settled independently and fulfilling the desire of Srila Prabhupada, start preaching very widely. We are suspecting that it won't be possible for an able and respectable Vaishnava like yourself to stay there long, adjusting with the illiterate and less educated devotees of the Gaudiya Sangh in Delhi. Moreover, you are the head of the editorial board of Srimad Keshav Maharaj Vedanta Samiti, Gaudiya Patrika and Bhagavad Patrika. So, if you spend much time in our ashram, then he might become annoyed. With many devotees, he is setting out to circumambulate the land of Braj, and we are sure that he will need your assistance in this parikrama. So you consider all the pros and cons, and if you do not neglect the duty as a leader of his organization, we will be pleased. What a response. Some articles have been sent for the October issue Sajjanatosani, and some more might be sent. Oh, 6:53, I think we should stop here. We should be punctual in our service. Yeah, my last thought. Please break out the day. First, don't go too much in detail. Just divide day in a two-part, morning and afternoon. And write down what exactly you will be doing during those times. Just start with a couple of items in each morning and afternoon. But make sure that you do it without fail. And you have a large window, so it's not that you cannot do it, that you have to perform at certain time. Don't start like that. At least your goal is that I need to complete this task in that particular time frame. That's all. You start with slow. Start with 2 items in the morning, 2 items in the afternoon. At least get it done during that time. That's all. And keep it record of it. And then as you feel, and I have seen that when you become so punctual that you will never miss a day to perform despite anything happen in your life, Krishna will give you more strength and wisdom to bisect the days in more group. Make it 4 quadrant, 4 hours quadrant or something. And then you will see 4 quadrant you are fixed. You will be remembering Krishna more. And then you make it in 8 quadrants, 16 quadrants. And then you will see how fixed you will become. But start with slow and then move. Like my Guru Maharaj used to say, when we walk, we want to make sure our feet is fixed. Then you lift the other leg. So try for at least 1 month that what you decide. And you can make for every day, because every day is different. Weekends are different, weekdays are different. So you can make that, or make it 2 chart. 1 for weekdays, 1 for weekend. And slowly make it more and more in detail from 2 to 4, 4 to 6 quadrant of the day, 6 to 8 quadrant, make it 12 quadrant of the day. Simple, simple thing, but at least it will remind I have to do this. It may be like just relax and enjoy whatever the meditation you are doing, but put something and practice it with real punctuality that you should never miss those items in those times. And if you do it for 30 days, then you can increase little, go slowly. But make sure that you maintain that no matter what happens in your life. And then you will see like our japa time, it will become so easy because then we are punctual on everything. We know what we need to do and we will spend the time as we wanted to spend the time. Nobody should dictate except your spiritual master and advisor. But you should be independent. And as I say in the morning, take your time from yourself. Dwell on it, what you really want to do. You should have your own time. So those are some of the thoughts is going through my mind, but I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the desk of this wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And I just want to spend little time more so we can